the paradigm shift. The Aurorus Dominion had ruled the central spiral arm for nearly 12,000 standard cycles. Their technological superiority was unquestioned, their military might unchallenged, and their diplomatic influence extended to over 300 star-faring civilizations. When humanity achieved faster-than-light travel and was formally recognized by the Galactic Council, it was with the understanding that Earth would eventually join the Dominion, as all emerging species did, as a client state, providing resources and military service in exchange for protection and technological scraps. Humanity had other plans. Dr. Maya Chin stood before the holographic display in her laboratory beneath the Olympus Mons research facility on Mars. The three-dimensional rendering of Project Helios rotated slowly, its unconventional design a stark departure from the sleek biomimetic vessels favored by the Dominion. Where their ships resembled predatory sea creatures with smooth, continuous hulls, Helios was all hard angles and exposed mechanical systems, deliberately so. Final systems check complete, announced Kai Ofer, her chief engineer. Energy containment field stable, quantum matrix synchronized. We're as ready as we'll ever be. Maya nodded, her expression serious. 6 years of her life had gone into this project. 6 years of working in secret while Earth's official representatives played the part of technological novices to the Dominion. They arrive tomorrow, she said, studying the schematics one final time. The Dominion's technical assessment team, led by War Prince Sorik himself, Kai added. Quite an honor to have the third-ranking member of their hierarchy visit our primitive world. Maya's lips curved into a tight smile. They want to see what we're capable of before they send the formal subjugation demand. Standard protocol. The door to the lab slid open, and Director Hassan entered, his normally composed features tight with tension. The Dominion flagship has entered the system. They've accelerated their timetable. Maya and Kai exchanged glances. How long? She asked. 6 hours. They'll be in Earth orbit by 0900. Trying to catch us unprepared, Kai muttered. Typical Dominion tactic. Maya closed the holographic display with a wave of her hand. Then let's not disappoint them. Alert the crew. Prepare for full demonstration protocol. War Prince Sorik's mandibles clicked rhythmically as he surveyed the primitive space station orbiting Earth. His 8-foot frame towered over the human delegation that had come to greet his inspection team, his iridescent exoskeleton gleaming under the station's lights. 4 of his junior officers stood at attention behind him, their posture conveying the subtle contempt that had become the Dominion's hallmark when dealing with emerging species. We appreciate this opportunity to demonstrate Earth's technological advancement, said Ambassador Chin, no relation to Maya, though they shared the same calm demeanor under pressure. We hope you'll find our progress instructive. Sorik's multifaceted eyes shifted, focusing on the ambassador. The Dominion has encountered 17,842 spacefaring species in its history, Ambassador. All have followed predictable technological trajectories. All now serve the greater harmony of the Dominion. Of course, the ambassador replied smoothly. If you'll follow me to the observation deck, we've prepared a demonstration of our latest vessel. The observation deck offered a panoramic view of Earth below and the vast emptiness of space beyond. A single display screen showed a small craft leaving Mars orbit. This is our prototype defense vessel, Helios, explained Dr. Maya Chun, stepping forward to join the delegation. I've served as lead designer on the project. Sorik studied the approaching craft with obvious amusement. This is your advanced technology? It appears you've hardly mastered basic hull integrity principles. Those exposed systems would fail instantly under any significant stress. We're still learning, Maya replied, her tone appropriately deferential. Perhaps you could offer some insights on our design choices. The War Prince's mandibles clicked faster, his species equivalent of condescending laughter. Your propulsion system still relies on reaction mass. Your communications array uses standard electromagnetic waves. Your weapons, he paused, studying the readout his officers had provided, are rudimentary plasma projectors. You are at least 800 cycles behind current Dominion technology. We'd be grateful for any guidance the Dominion might provide, Ambassador Chen said. Sorik turned to face the humans directly. The Dominion's position is clear. Earth has potential but requires proper supervision to develop along acceptable technological lines. You will be offered protectorate status. Your resources will support the greater harmony. Your most promising scientists will be relocated to Dominion research centers for proper education. And if we decline? Maya asked before the ambassador could respond. The War Prince's eyes fixed on her, his posture shifting subtly. That would be most unwise, Dr. Chen. Those who decline often find themselves facing technical difficulties, asteroid impacts, solar flares, atmospheric degradation. He gestured dismissively. The cosmos is full of natural dangers for primitive worlds. The implied threat hung in the air, but Maya simply nodded. Of course. We'll need to consult with our planetary council before responding formally. You have 3 standard days, Sorik said. Now, I believe you are going to demonstrate your vessel's capabilities. Maya tapped a command into her wrist console. Indeed, Helios is prepared to showcase its maneuvering system. On the view screen, the angular vessel began a series of basic evasive patterns, nothing that would impress a spacefaring civilization with 12 millennia of experience. The Dominion officers watched with barely concealed disdain. Curious design choice, one of Sorik's officers commented. Their energy signature is unusual, inefficient, another added. They're bleeding power through those exposed systems. Sorik waved a limb dismissively. A typical error for species at this development stage. They haven't mastered proper containment principles. Maya kept her expression neutral as she heard their assessment. We're still refining our approach, she said. Perhaps a demonstration of our defensive capabilities would be more interesting. Before Sorik could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Ambassador Chen looked genuinely surprised. This wasn't part of the planned demonstration. What's happening? He demanded. A technician's voice came through the communication system. Unknown vessels entering the system, sir. Configuration matches Sarati raiders. Sorik's posture changed instantly, his body language shifting from condescension to alert readiness. Sarati? Dear? This far into this sector. The Sarati were notorious throughout the galaxy, pirates and scavengers who preyed on developing worlds and occasionally dared to raid even Dominion outposts. Their presence in Earth's system was unexpected and potentially catastrophic for a planet the Dominion had already classified as technologically primitive. We're tracking 6 Sarati vessels, the technician continued. They'll reach Earth orbit in 20 minutes. Recall your prototype, Sorik ordered Maya. It will be destroyed instantly. My vessel will handle this threat. Maya exchanged glances with Ambassador Chen, who gave her an almost imperceptible nod. Actually, we're Prince, she said calmly. We'd prefer to handle this ourselves. Sorik's mandibles clicked rapidly and what humans had learned was an expression of shocked disbelief. You cannot be serious. Your single primitive vessel against 6 Sarati raiders? They'll obliterate it. Maya smiled. Perhaps you'd care to observe before returning to your ship. I think you might find our approach educational. Pride and curiosity warred in Sorik's posture before he finally inclined his head. Very well. I will witness your futile defense effort before intervening. It may provide useful data on Sarati attack patterns. On the view screen, the 6 Sarati vessels were now clearly visible, predatory craft with forward-sweeping wings and multiple weapon ports glowing with charged energy. They moved in a hunting formation, converging on the seemingly vulnerable Earth. Helios is moving to intercept, Maya narrated calmly, as if this were still the planned demonstration. The lone Earth vessel altered course, accelerating toward the incoming raiders. The Dominion officers exchanged glances, their body language conveying a mixture of amusement and confusion at what appeared to be a suicidal tactic. They're firing, announced the station technician. The lead Sarati vessel unleashed a barrage of energy weapons, bright lances of destructive force that should have vaporized the smaller Earthcraft instantly. Instead, something extraordinary happened. The beam struck Helios and passed through it. Sensor malfunction, one of Sorik's officers declared. The human vessel must have been destroyed. No malfunction, Maya replied, her eyes fixed on the display. Helios is exactly where it's supposed to be. The Earth vessel flickered on the screen, its image distorting momentarily before stabilizing. It wasn't damaged, it simply appeared to exist in multiple positions simultaneously, none of them quite solid. What trickery is this? Sorik demanded, his composed demeanor cracking. Some kind of holographic projection? Not a projection, Maya explained as Helios continued toward the confused Sarati fleet. A quantum probability field. Helios doesn't exist in a single fixed position. It exists as a wave function, a range of possibilities. The Sarati fired again, their weapons passing harmlessly through the phantom-like Earth vessel. With each attack, Helios seemed to flicker more intensely, gathering energy. You've weaponized quantum uncertainty, Sorik said, his voice dropping to a whisper, his scientific mind rapidly processing the implications. Impossible. Such technology would require a completely different development path then. The one the Dominion follows, Maya finished for him. We didn't try to copy your technological trajectory. We forged our own. On the screen, Helios had reached the Sarati formation. For the first time, the Earth vessel emitted its own energy pulse, not a conventional weapon, but a focused collapse of its quantum field. The lead Sarati ship shuddered as its systems failed, its weapons powering down, its engines dying. One by one, the other raiders experienced the same fate, their ships drifting powerless in space. The quantum collapse induces sympathetic failures in conventional technology, Maya explained. No need for destructive force when you can simply turn off your opponent. Sorik stared at the display in stunned silence. The implications were staggering. A species that should have been at least 8 centuries from being a genuine concern had developed technology that made the Dominion's conventional military approach obsolete. This was no coincidence, he said finally, turning to face Maya and the ambassador. The Sarati, you arranged this. Ambassador Chen smiled diplomatically. The Sarati agreed to participate in our demonstration in exchange for certain considerations. They're not actually our enemies, despite their reputation. Just business people with flexible ethics. You've been concealing your true technological development, Sorik accused, his voice carrying a hint of new respect beneath the outrage. Just as you concealed your true intentions for Earth, Maya countered. We know about the resource extraction plans, the forced population relocations, the genetic optimizations you perform on client species. Did you really think we wouldn't research how the Dominion treats its protectorates? Sorik's posture shifted as he reassessed the situation. The humans weren't the primitive newcomers he had assumed. They were dangerous and clever. The Dominion Council will hear of this deception. We're counting on it, Ambassador Chen replied. In fact, we've prepared a formal application for independent membership in the Galactic Council. With our quantum field technology, we believe we have much to offer as equals rather than subjects. The Council will never They already have, the ambassador interrupted, producing a data crystal. Provisional approval, pending today's demonstration. Your presence here was the final assessment, or Prince Sorik. The Council wanted an unbiased evaluation of our capabilities from a senior Dominion official. The War Prince took the crystal, his movement stiff with suppressed rage and dawning comprehension. He had been manipulated, not just by the humans but by factions within the Council itself, groups who perhaps had grown concerned about the Dominion's expanding influence. This isn't over, he said quietly. The Dominion doesn't surrender its interests so easily. We're counting on that too, Maya replied. Competition drives innovation. We look forward to a productive rivalry. As Sorik and his officers departed the station to return to their vessel, Maya turned to Ambassador Chen. Phase 1 complete, she said. But he's right. This isn't over. The Dominion won't accept this easily. That's why we have phases 2 through 5, the ambassador replied. On the view screen, the Earth vessel was leading the power-down Sarati raiders toward Mars, where they would be studied and their crews well compensated for their participation in humanity's coming-out party. The real test would come when the Dominion returned in force. And Maya Chen knew they would be ready. The Dominion's response. The Dominion High Council chamber on Arcturus Prime fell silent as War Prince Sorik concluded his report. The massive amphitheater, carved from living crystal that amplified and clarified spoken words, housed the 50 most powerful members of the species that had ruled the central spiral arm for millennia. Their iridescent exoskeletons reflected the ambient light in patterns that subtly communicated their growing alarm. Supreme Hierarch Calix, the ancient leader of the Dominion, raised one gnarled limb for attention. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of 12,000 years of unquestioned authority. You claim this primitive species, these humans, has developed quantum probability manipulation to a weaponized state, a technology we deem theoretically impossible? Not impossible, Supreme Hierarch, Sorik replied, his posture conveying appropriate deference. Merely impractical through our technological path. The humans approach the problem differently. And you believe they have more than one of these vessels? Asked Science Director Vexel, her smaller frame compensated by the intensity of her multifaceted eyes. I am certain of it, Sorik confirmed. The prototype they demonstrated was called Helios. Our intelligence intercepts have referenced projects Zeus, Horus, Apollo, Artemis, and others with similar nomenclature. All indications suggest a coordinated defense system using the same principles. Calix's mandibles clicked slowly, the sound of deep contemplation. This cannot be permitted to continue. A species developing along an unpredictable technological trajectory poses an existential threat to Dominion stability. War Marshal Krex, commander of the Dominion's vast military forces, shifted forward. The solution is obvious. We assemble an overwhelming force. Even their quantum technology cannot stand against the full might of a Dominion armada. You did not see it in action, Sorek countered, a boldness in his tone that surprised the Council. Traditional weapons pass through their vessels. Energy weapons actually strengthen their quantum field. And their counterstrike doesn't destroy, it simply disables. The Serati raiders were left intact but completely powerless. All technology has weaknesses, Science Director Vexel insisted. We must capture this Helios and analyze it. The humans anticipated that strategy, Sorek said. The vessel's quantum state means it cannot be physically captured, and they've already been recognized by the Galactic Council as an independent species with protected status. This revelation sent a wave of agitated clicking through the chamber. The Galactic Council rarely intervened in Dominion expansion, recognizing its role in maintaining order across the sector. Supreme Hierarch Calix raised his limb again, silencing the chamber. This changes nothing. The humans must be contained before their technology spreads. Prepare the 7th Fleet. We will resolve this anomaly. War Marshal Krex's exoskeleton flashed with patterns of eager anticipation. I will lead the expedition personally. 100 capital ships should be sufficient to overwhelm any defense system, quantum or otherwise. As the council session adjourned, Sorek found himself walking alongside Science Director Vexel in the crystalline corridors. You're troubled by this decision, she observed, her sensory appendages detecting his pheromonal signals of disquiet. The humans are not what we expected, Sorek admitted. They deceived us deliberately, presenting a facade of technological backwardness while developing along an entirely different path. Such adaptability and deception are concerning traits. All the more reason to eliminate the threat now, Vexel replied, before it grows beyond our ability to control. Sorek's mandibles clicked in reluctant agreement. But as he departed for his assigned vessel in the coming armada, a persistent doubt remained. Something about humanity's confidence suggested they were still several moves ahead in a game the Dominion didn't fully understand. On Earth, the Global Defense Council had convened in their underground facility beneath the Himalayas. Representatives from every nation sat around a circular table, with Dr. Maya Chun and Ambassador Chun Lai presenting the latest intelligence. The Dominion is mobilizing their 7th Fleet, Maya reported, the holographic display showing the movement of Dominion forces. Estimated arrival, 2 weeks. How many vessels? Asked General Rodriguez of the Pan American Alliance. 100 capital ships, each carrying between 5 and 20 support craft. Total vessel count approximately 1,200, Maya answered. Murmurs rippled around the table. Even with the quantum field technology, such overwhelming numbers posed a significant challenge. Ambassador Chinlai stepped forward. We've received responses from 17 independent spacefaring civilizations. All have expressed support for Earth's independence, but only 3 have offered material assistance. The others fear Dominion retaliation, added Director Hassan. Understandable, but disappointing. We always knew we might have to face this alone, Maya reminded them. That's why Project Helios was designed as a scalable defense system, not just a single vessel. She manipulated the holographic display, showing the completed network of quantum field generators positioned throughout the solar system. The Helios defense grid is at 97% completion. Earth, Luna, and Mars are fully protected. The outer system installations will be operational within 3 days. And Project Apollo? Asked the premier of the Eurasian Federation. Maya's expression tightened slightly. Apollo remains our contingency. It's ready if needed, but I must again emphasize that deployment carries significant risks. The council president nodded gravely. We all understand the implications, Dr. Chen. Let us hope it doesn't come to that. As the meeting continued, Maya found herself staring at the holographic representation of the approaching Dominion armada. The Helios system had proven effective against a small force, but 100 capital ships was another matter entirely. She had confidence in humanity's innovation, but the coming confrontation would push their new technology to its limits. And beyond those limits waited Project Apollo, the application of quantum field technology that even she had argued against developing. The confrontation. War Marshal Krex stood on the command deck of the Dominion dreadnought Inevitable Conquest, watching as his mighty armada emerged from faster-than-light transit at the edge of the Sol system. The 100 capital ships formed a perfect assault formation, their sleek biomimetic hulls gleaming in the distant sunlight. "Deploy sensor drones," he ordered. "Full-spectrum analysis of the system. I want every human defense installation identified." "Marshal," his communications officer interrupted, "we're receiving a transmission from Earth." Krex's mandibles clicked in amusement. "They wish to surrender already? Put it through." The holographic projector activated, showing a human female, the same Dr. Chun who had demonstrated the prototype vessel to Sorik. "War Marshal Krex," she greeted him calmly. "The people of Earth extend diplomatic greetings to the Arcturus Dominion fleet." "Save your pleasantries, human," Krex replied. "The Dominion High Council has determined your species' development threatens galactic stability. You will surrender your quantum field technology and accept Dominion authority, or face immediate eradication." Maya's expression didn't change. "We decline both options, Marshal. Earth is a sovereign world recognized by the Galactic Council. We have the right to develop our own technological path. The Galactic Council has no authority over Dominion security matters," Krex stated flatly. "You have 1 standard hour to reconsider. After that, we begin systematic neutralization of your civilization." He terminated the transmission with a dismissive gesture. "Arrogant creatures," he muttered. "Prepare the first attack wave. Target their orbital facilities first, then planetary defense systems." "Marshal," his sensor officer called out, "we're detecting unusual energy signatures throughout the system, similar to the quantum vessel described in War Prince Sorik's report, but more diffuse." "Show me," Krex ordered. The tactical display updated, revealing a network of energy patterns stretching from Earth to the outer planets, a web of quantum probability fields linking throughout the entire system. For the first time, Krex felt a flicker of uncertainty. This was not a single experimental vessel but a comprehensive defense system unlike anything the Dominion had encountered before. He dismissed the momentary doubt. No defense could withstand the concentrated firepower of 100 Dominion capital ships. "Commence the attack," he commanded. All vessels advanced to primary engagement positions. In the Helios Control Center beneath Olympus Mons, Maya Chen monitored the approaching Dominion fleet. Beside her, Kai Ofer managed the quantum field network, while teams of technicians maintained the complex systems that kept the defense grid operational. "They're moving into attack formation," Kai reported. "Exactly as predicted." Maya nodded, watching the patterns emerge on the tactical display. The Dominion always follows the same playbook. 3 centuries of unchallenged military superiority has made them predictable. "Grid integrity at 100%, another technician called out. All nodes responding. "They're launching fighter craft," Kai warned. "First wave approaching Mars orbit." Maya took a deep breath. This was the moment of truth. The Helios system had never been tested against such overwhelming numbers. "Activate primary defense protocol," she ordered. "Selective engagement only. Remember, we're not trying to destroy them." Throughout the solar system, the quantum field generators activated simultaneously, creating overlapping zones of probability distortion. As the first wave of Dominion fighters entered Mars orbit, they encountered these fields and immediately began experiencing system failures. Engines sputtered and died. Weapons powered down. Navigation systems gave contradictory readings. The fighters drifted, unable to maintain formation or continue their advance. On the inevitable conquest, War Marshal Krex watched in disbelief as the first attack wave became effectively neutralized without a single shot being fired. "What is happening?" he demanded. "Status report." The fighters report total systems failure, Marshal, his tactical officer replied, mandibles clicking in agitation. "Some kind of energy field is disrupting all power systems. They can maintain life support only." Krex's exoskeleton flashed patterns of rage. "Send in the second wave, different approach vector, and prepare the capital ship's main batteries. We'll saturate their entire orbital plane with fire." The second wave of fighters met the same fate, rendered powerless as they encountered the quantum fields. When the capital ships began their bombardment, firing massive energy weapons toward Mars and Earth, the results were even more surprising. The energy beams disappeared into the quantum fields and then reappeared elsewhere in the system, redirected harmlessly into empty space or, in some cases, back toward the Dominion fleet itself. "Impossible," Krex roared as several of his vessels reported hits from their own weapons. Cease fire. All vessels cease fire immediately. In the Helios control center, Maya allowed herself a small smile of satisfaction. The redirect protocols are working perfectly, she noted. The more energy they pour into the quantum fields, the stronger our control becomes. They're regrouping, Kai observed, watching the Dominion vessels pull back to a defensive formation. Looks like they're reassessing their strategy. They'll try to find the generators next, Maya predicted. Start cycling the node signatures. Don't give them fixed targets. On the inevitable conquest, where Marshal Krex had gathered his senior officers for an emergency strategy session. These quantum fields are more extensive than our intelligence suggested, he admitted. Direct energy weapons are ineffective, and our smaller craft cannot penetrate their defensive envelope. Perhaps kinetic weapons, suggested his tactical officer. Physical projectiles might pass through the fields. Or we target the generators themselves, added another. They must have physical installations powering this network. Krex considered these options, his tactical mind analyzing the problem from all angles. We will attempt both simultaneously. Prepare mass driver batteries and deploy stealth scout vessels to locate their generator nodes. As the Dominion fleet reorganized for its second assault, a new communication request came through from Earth. Put it through, Krex ordered, his patience wearing thin. Maya Chin appeared again, her expression still composed but with a new seriousness in her eyes. War Marshal, you've now witnessed the defensive capabilities of the Helios network. As you've seen, we can neutralize your vessels without destroying them. I urge you to withdraw and pursue diplomatic solutions before this conflict escalates further. Your technology is impressive, human, Krex acknowledged, but no defense is perfect. The Dominion has conquered species with far longer histories and more developed technologies than yours. This is merely our first approach. I understand, Maya replied. In that case, I must inform you that continued aggression will trigger our Apollo protocol. Another bluff. Krex's mandibles clicked in dismissal. Helios was designed as a defensive system, Maya explained calmly. Apollo is its offensive counterpart, the same quantum probability manipulation but applied differently. We prefer not to use it. Krex terminated the transmission without responding, turning to his officers. Proceed with the kinetic bombardment. Target their major population centers. Let's see how their quantum fields handle solid matter. In the Helios Control Center, Maya turned to Director Hassan with a grim expression. They're not backing down. Prepare to activate Apollo. Are you certain? Hassan asked, concern evident in his voice. Once deployed, there's no recalling it. They're preparing kinetic weapons, targeting civilian populations, Kai reported from his station. Projectile launch detected. Maya's decision solidified. We have no choice. Authorize Apollo deployment. Throughout the solar system, a new set of quantum generators activated, their energy signatures different from the defensive Helios network. Rather than creating probability fields around Earth's assets, these generators projected focused quantum uncertainty directly toward the Dominion fleet. Aboard the inevitable conquest, the first indication of trouble came from the engineering section. Marshal, we're detecting unusual energy fluctuations in the drive core, reported the chief engineer, his exoskeleton pattern showing confusion and alarm. Explain, Krex demanded. The quantum probability state of our containment field is shifting. The barriers between possible states are breaking down. Similar reports began coming in from throughout the fleet. Critical systems were experiencing quantum destabilization, not failing, but changing to different operational states simultaneously. What have they done? Krex whispered as he watched his mighty vessels begin to lose cohesion. The Apollo system was the offensive application of quantum field technology. Instead of protecting Earth assets by making them exist in multiple probability states, it forced enemy vessels into quantum uncertainty. Ships couldn't fire weapons when those weapons existed in multiple configurations simultaneously. Engines couldn't provide thrust when they operated at conflicting power levels. And most critically, structural integrity failed when the materials themselves couldn't maintain a single quantum state. Krex watched in horror as the nearest Dominion cruiser began to lose cohesion, its biomimetic hull becoming transparent in sections as the molecular bonds existed and didn't exist simultaneously. The vessel didn't explode. It simply ceased to maintain a coherent physical form, dissolving into a cloud of probability. Full retreat, he ordered, his voice barely audible even in the silence that had fallen over the command deck. All vessels emergency translation to faster than light. Get out of the system immediately. The Dominion ships that could still maneuver began emergency jump procedures, desperately trying to escape the expanding quantum effect. Of the 100 capital ships that had entered the Sol system, only 63 managed to escape. The rest dissolved into quantum probability, their crews and materials not destroyed but dispersed into an uncertain state between existence and non-existence. The aftermath. 3 days later, Maya Chin stood before the Galactic Council chamber on the neutral world of Epsilon. Representatives from 2,000 spacefaring civilizations had gathered for this unprecedented emergency session. The Arcturus Dominion delegation sat in stony silence as Maya presented Earth's evidence and explained the principles behind the quantum field technology. We did not seek this confrontation, she concluded. Earth wanted only recognition of our independence and the right to develop along our own technological path. The attack on our system forced us to deploy defensive measures we had hoped would never be necessary. Supreme Hierarch Calix himself had come to represent the Dominion, a sign of how seriously they now took the human threat. The humans have created an abomination, he declared to the Council. A weapon that violates the fundamental laws of physical reality. It threatens not just the Dominion but all ordered civilization. The ancient galactic arbiter who presided over the council session leaned forward, its crystalline form shimmering with internal light. Yet you attacked their system with overwhelming force, the arbiter noted, its translated voice resonating through the chamber, after they had been granted independent recognition by this council. We were responding to an existential threat, Calix insisted. Their technology follows no established progression. It cannot be predicted or controlled. Perhaps that is precisely what the galaxy needs, the arbiter replied. For too long, technological development has followed paths established by the elder races. New perspectives bring new possibilities. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices and translated communications as representatives debated the implications. When order was finally restored, the arbiter delivered the council's judgment. Earth will retain its independence and the right to develop its quantum technology. However, the humans must share the theoretical principles with the Council Scientific Repository so that all species may understand this new approach. The arbiter turned to the Dominion delegation. The Arcturus Dominion will withdraw all military forces from Earth's sphere of influence and recognize human sovereignty. Furthermore, the Dominion will reduce its fleet presence in the central spiral arm by 30% as recompense for its unauthorized military action. Calix's exoskeleton flashed patterns of outrage, but he made no protest. The balance of power had shifted irrevocably. After the session concluded, Maya found herself face to face with War Prince Sorik in a quiet corridor outside the council chamber. You knew, he said, his voice low. You knew exactly how we would respond, and you prepared accordingly. Maya nodded. The Dominion has followed the same patterns for millennia. Your technological supremacy made you predictable. And now, what does humanity intend to do with its newfound power? Maya considered the question carefully. We don't seek dominion, War Prince. We seek partnership. Earth has taken a different technological path, one that complements rather than competes with yours. The Supreme Hierarch will never accept this, Sorik warned. He'll find other ways to contain the human threat. Then perhaps the Dominion needs new leadership, Maya suggested quietly. Someone who understands that the galaxy is changing. Someone who sees opportunity in diversity rather than threat. Sorik's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. An interesting proposition, Dr. Chin. Perhaps we should continue this discussion, unofficially. As they walked together toward a more private meeting room, Maya reflected on how far humanity had come in such a short time. They had faced the most powerful civilization in the galaxy and prevailed not through superior firepower but through innovation and understanding, by changing the rules of a game that had remained static for too long. The quantum technology had been their edge, but humanity's real strength lay in something the Dominion had never truly mastered despite their 12,000-year history: adaptability. Where the Dominion saw only one path forward, humans saw infinite possibilities, a perspective as fundamental to their nature as quantum uncertainty itself. And in a universe of endless possibilities, there was room for all paths to coexist.